Hey YouTube, Satoshi Matrix here yet again bringing you another video. In this installment of the Adapter Factor, I'm going to be showing you a cool little adapter that allows you to use a PlayStation 2 controller on a Microsoft Xbox or Nintendo GameCube. So this is the adapter itself. This is the Game Elements Universal Game Controller Adapter for the PlayStation 2. This thing allows you to put in a PlayStation 2 controller on one end and then plug it into either a GameCube or Microsoft Xbox. And I'm going to show you the adapter itself. The adapter has two different switches on it. The first switch is to switch between Xbox and Nintendo GameCube, as you can see. It's a two-way switch. On the other side is an adapter that switches between steering wheels and gamepads. So that's right, this thing will allow you to use steering wheels as well if you have a PlayStation 2 steering wheel and want to use it on either the GameCube or Xbox. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to demo this thing. So I'm going to put the camera down so you can see the controller. All you do is you take the controller end and you plug it into the female end of the adapter. So it's just like this. Then you take the Xbox adapter, because I am going to demo the Xbox. I'm going to go to the doors, open it up, simply plug it into the console, close the door up, show you the controller is lit, showing you its analog. When this is analog, you cannot actually turn it off, so it's going to be permanently analog, so there's no digital format for this. So I have booted up one of my favorite games, and that is Dead or Alive 2 Ultimate. So I'm going to take my PlayStation 2 controller here, press start, go to sparring. Alright, camera down. Let's give you some eye candy. So here's Dead or Alive 2 Ultimate running on Xbox with a PlayStation 2 controller. So move around. Anyway, you get the point. All of the buttons are mapped correctly. The D-pad is mapped to the D-pad is mapped to the D-pad. The left stick, right stick. The shoulder buttons. Here is the A button, the B button, the Y, or the B buttons over here. The X is over here, and the Y. So it's mapped just as you'd think it would be. So luckily it works great. So you have your black and white buttons and the two shoulder buttons. Now, that shows you a standard PlayStation 2 controller. But since I'm playing a fighting game is best played with, of course, a massive arcade stick. So I'm going to be showing you this in action. So simply take the controller, there we go, the board was stuck underneath it. Take its cord and plug it in. I'm just going to put the camera down while I do this. Simply exchange the controllers, plug this one in to the adapter, and now right, Dead or Alive 2 using the Ultimate Real Arcade Pro 2. Thumbs up. But that's not all this adapter does. So I'm going to simply put this down. Go over here again. Turn off the Xbox. And unplug the arcade stick. As I mentioned, it has two different settings. It has Xbox and Nintendo GameCube. So I simply go and put it to GameCube, take the GameCube end, plug it into the GameCube, turn on the GameCube, put the signal to GameCube, grab my PlayStation 2 controller again, insert it into the adapter. Trying to do this one-handed. Put the camera down while I do this. So here is the Wind Waker. Get that out of the way. Here's The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker with a PlayStation 2 controller. And on GameCube, you have the left stick, the right stick, the A button, or the B button is the X, the A button is roll, the X button, or the Y button I should say, and the X button. Then you have the L1 and R1 buttons, both being Z, and the two shoulders being the GameCube shoulders. So I get the point. But I'm going to be showing you something really cool about this adapter. As you might remember from another installment of the Controller Chronicles, previously I had talked about, let's see what it is, right here. This cool little adapter from Mayflash. This allows you to use a Xbox controller on the PlayStation 2. So, if you combine the power of these adapters, go here, take the adapter, unplug the PlayStation 2 controller, take the other adapter, and take its PlayStation 2 cord, and plug it into this adapter, I can daisy chain the adapter, so that's going from GameCube into the adapter, into the PlayStation 2, into the Xbox adapter. So with this, you can take an Xbox controller, take its cord, and plug it in. And then you'll notice it lights up. Now what I can do with this crazy contraption of adapters, play GameCube with an Xbox controller. And again, the button mapping is just as you'd expect it would be. There's left stick, right stick, the B button, the A button, the Y button, and the X button. And then the two Z buttons, and you have your shoulders. And it works perfectly. So here is Nintendo GameCube with an Xbox controller. This is obviously how I prefer it because I really like the Xbox Controller S, and I much prefer it over either the PlayStation 2 controller or the Nintendo GameCube controller. Not that they're bad controllers, but this is just how I prefer to play. Well, that about wraps it up for now, but just before I go, I'm going to be showing you one more thing about this adapter. As you might notice, there are 3 cords connected to this controller, not just the 2 that I mentioned before. The third is a USB connection. Now, when you buy this adapter, it doesn't actually come with a USB connection. This is something I had to mod in myself. On certain boards, this thing had multiple different revisions. I own 2 different versions of this. One of them does not. One of them does. On the newer revisions of the board, they actually have on the PCB itself slots for USB. So I thought, oh, that's really cool. I wonder if it actually works. So I tried adding a USB connection to it, and I soldered it in place and then glued it in place to simply secure it. And lo and behold, yes, it does work. Now, what's really cool is you can use this thing to use a PlayStation 2 controller on not only the GameCube and Xbox, but also PC as well, for emulators and such things. So if you really wanted to, you can use an Xbox controller or through this adapter, or you could use the PlayStation 2 controller on USB. Since this is USB and it comes out as the generic USB human interface device, it will also work on the PlayStation 3. Although, I must warn you, the button mapping is a little bit weird. For whatever reason, I guess maybe the company that made this wasn't intending on ever putting it into implication. That's why it was simply on the board but not used. Who knows? But anyway, on the default controller, let's see where I put it. Well, here's PlayStation 3 controller anyway. You have the circle button mapped to X, X mapped to circle, triangle mapped to square, and square mapped to triangle. All the other buttons are completely correct. You have your left stick being left stick, right stick being right stick, D-pad being D-pad. The 4 shoulder buttons are all correct. The start and select are correct. But for whatever reason, they got the face buttons all messed up. They got, triangle here and X here. So yeah, I don't really get that, but it does work. But you just have to remember that your button mapping will all be messed up. So it's, if you can, get another adapter just for that. But if you already have one of these, or plan on picking one of these up for either the GameCube or Xbox purposes and want to add a USB connection, it's certainly very easy to do. All you need to do is add in the 4 wires from the Xbox controller. And since there really was no tutorial on how to do this, I had to sort of figure it out by myself. So if anyone is interested in doing this, just shoot me a PM and I'll tell you just what I did and how you can get it working. So anyway, that will wrap it out for now. So thanks for watching.